Hey, have you ever wondered about how the concept of generative AI could be applied in our daily life? That was also a question that I had a couple of months ago. However, in the past few days, my teammate Mr. Pujianto, Christopher Chiam, and I, Leonhard, Satria, Suharjo, have been participating in the generative AI course held by Kaggle and Google. So, in this video, we will talk about our project called the Petit Cafe. So let's us jump into the presentation. So welcome towards our presentation of the Petit Cafe as part of our capstone project of the Generative AI Kaggle course 2025. So we'll start with the structure of this presentation. We will start with background, followed by how our project works, which will be discussed about the flowchart, and followed by database review, followed by code review and limitation and weaknesses, which will be discussed by our teammate, Mr. Pujianto Christopher Xiao. And lastly, we will close with the future improvements for our application. So first, background. When we think about the background of our application, we first think about how can we apply what we learned from the 5-day generative AI course from Kaggle. And indeed, we learn a lot of concepts. We learn about few-shot prompting, how can we use them, and in what scenarios we use them. We learn about document and image understanding, which lay the basis of AI. We learn also about agents, RAG, and more. And from these things that we learn, we do the discussion and we conclude that we found that enhancing user experience is the area that we want to focus on in this project. And with that being said, we shift our focus towards one of the industry, which is the cafe industry. So the reason we choose cafe is because cafe industry highly emphasized the value of user experience where with a good user experience, the customer will definitely choose to go back to the same cafe and be a loyal customer for a certain cafe. So after doing assessment of how the LLM or the AI and the generative AI could have an impact towards this kind of application, we found that large language models, LLMs, can be used to make this intelligent conversational interfaces that will increase user experience by a significant amount and make user feel more natural. They can speak with their natural language towards the application, and thus the application can respond with a good and polite and respond to these habitual questions. Another concept that we looked upon to is also retrieval augmented generation or RAG, which allow these AI assistants or agents to access the database and that access a knowledge bases, which we will look after this. And with all these capabilities, the RAG will therefore have responses that are grounded with knowledge bases. So the information that will come to the user are accurate information, and they are generated within a good response. Next up, we decide towards our final product, which is a virtual prototype of an interactive notebook connected with the Gemini AI. So for this application, for this project, we decide to make an capstone we decide to make a interactive notebook using Kaggle, which will run using the system of Jupyter with the main language of Python, and we will integrate the AI of Gemini. And the final objective of this interactive notebook is to allow customers or the user to interact conversationally with this application using an AI agent. And we have decided also that in this application, we will use several concepts that we learned in the generative AI courses, namely function calling, embedding, RAG, and structured JSON. And all of these concepts will be discussed in the later parts of this video. So next up, how our project works. So to understand how our project works, we need to look at the first thing, which is flowchart, which tells how our project works. In this first flowchart, we see how our application works in a very basic manner. We see the overall interaction between the customer and Copybot. In here, we see the top hierarchy is the customer interaction, which signifies the customer starting the whole process. And it followed by two possibilities, which is order request. And if the order request is clear, then the bot will determine the intent of the customer. Then it will process the request of the customer and generate the response in the form of a text. And this whole process will be ended with closing the loop itself. However, as our application will involve more specialized and specific concepts, and with functions such as error handling and work, we decided to make a new flowchart that will cover all these functions, which is this. So this is our second flowchart. So this is the second flowchart, which discusses how the whole project works itself. It's again started with user input, and it then goes down into the determining the input type, which is done by the bot. So in this case, if the input is the menu item query, for example, how much is a latte, how much is the price of a coffee latte, then the system will call a function in the code called the lookup menu item. And if the item exists, this function will return the item information to the user. So we have created these functions in the code itself that will do this specific task and will be called by the bot automatically if the user wants to do a certain task. Next up, if the input from the user is an FAQ question, such as do you have a Wi-Fi or where is the location of this cafe and etc., then the system will call another function in the code. It's called the get underscore FAQ underscore answer, which will return a certain result, and this result is obtained by doing a factor similarity search. And lastly, if the input is order related, for instance, I want a cappuccino or let's order, which is straightforward, then the system will proceed to the order processing part. And if the order cannot be finalized, the system will keep collecting the needed details. And if the order is finalized, the system will finalize the order and input the information to the database of the SQLite. So we will use another database as well. It's called SQLite. And this SQLite will store all the information that the user or the customer ordered towards the cafe. The next up is the database review. So database is a very important concept in this application, which we cannot skip in this presentation. So first of all, we will discuss about database table. We have three main database tables in this application. The first one is order, the second one is customer, and the third one is order item. Starting up from the very top, we have order item table, which contains the order item ID, which also order ID, item name, item size, quantity, and price per item. We also have the order table, which contains order ID, customer ID, order time, total price, and status. And finally, we also have the customer table, which stores all the details about customer, such as customer ID, name, username, and its member. And all these values are formed in a way that it creates interconnected table. We have primary key, as PK, which are the main identifiers of the table. We also have foreign key, which are keys that exist in another table that connects between two tables. So let's say we have order ID in the first table. We have order ID as the foreign key, which in turn also exists as a primary key in another table, which is the order ID table. So the order item table and the order table can be connected to each other by using these foreign keys. Next up is an entity relational diagram. This ERD is represent the connection between tables. And as we can see here, we have the customers with all the tables that I've mentioned earlier. We have customer ID, name, username, and its member. And as a whole, the customer table has a one-to-many relationship with the order, while the order table has a one-to-many relationship with order items. What does this mean? This means that the customer will have one customer may have many orders, and one orders may have many order items. It's a one-to-many relationship between these tables. And as we can see, so let's say if a customer has an order, then the order will be inputted into the order file, the order databases, which contains the customer ID, of course, so that when we want to refer towards an order, in order history, for example, we can see that this order is ordered by who and who by looking at the customer ID. And if we want to see what is specified inside that order, then we can see the order items table, which contains the order item ID and the order ID as the foreign key, which means that when we want to see what is inside order ID 14, then we can see what is ordered in that order. Let's say cappuccino, two espresso, and stuff. But with this interconnected tables, the application can are able to talk to the schema and return appropriate functions and results according to what the customer asks. And it also should be noted that we also have this system called FAQ, TXT, and menu JSON. So in the code, which will be discussed next, we also used for it FAQ TXT file, which is used as a guideline for the AI, for the Gemini AI, for them to be able to answer the FAQ questions from the user. We also used another file. It's called a menu JSON, which is a JavaScript file that contains all the data and information regarding the menu of the cafe. So in this case, we have the menu such as coffee, category coffee, name, espresso, size single, and price, which will be used by the AI system to ask the user whether this user wants this type of coffee and to confirm whether this user wants to pay 7.5 euro, let's say, for a mocha. So next up is code review. And for this part, I will give this towards my teammate, Mr. Pujianto Christopher Chiam. So Mr. Pujianto, the stage is yours.
Hi, thanks Leonhard for the introductions. My name is Pujianto, and this is part of the GenAI intensive course Capstone 2025. And on this video, I would like to demonstrate this Kaggle notebook, which demonstrates the creations of this virtual cafe bot interactive AI assistants designed for a fictional cafe called Petit Cafe. And the goal of this conversational interface is to allow user to interactively ask the bot, the AI agent, to make an order or even ask common questions like we have Wi-Fi, we have some kind of questions, how can I contact you, and also allow user to ask them to browse the menu item, place some kind of order, and simulate the interactions of receiving order confirmations and greetings the user or the customer that comes into the virtual cafe. Right. So this project itself showcases the integration of several AI, modern AI and development techniques, Google Gemini models by LangChain, the LangGraph libraries to manage the conversational state and vector databases for information retrieval, as well as SPY Lite for some kind of very basic data persistence. So let's start. So what we have over here is a notebook where take a notebook, which a table of content over here. It started with setup and installations, database setup, FAQ retrieval, LangGraph definitions, tool definitions, graph node implementations, graph the definition and routing. As but the last one, of course, is the UI, the chatbot UI, right? A very simple thing. Let's with the setup and installation first. This to set up the environment, we install libraries like LangGraph 30321, load the Google API key, and also connect to an SQL Lite 3 database, which is called BotDB, right? So these look basically like two input, which is menu data in a JSON format, as well as the FAQ data that uses a very simple text file, right? So in action retrieval, so this connect we create tables. We have three tables over here. Loading the menu from JSON, how we pass the data JSON file. We have showed to you so this is the input. There's a text documents like whether what is the name of the cafe, where are you located, operating hour, what kind of customizations, whether you use a different kind of directory, and whether you can pay different payment, like lots of the new items like coffee espresso double, and then coffee Americano small or Americano medium, large, etc. Right. So in this section is we are loading a menu from the JSON itself and connect to DB, right? For FAQ retrieval setups, that was the document that we're looking at. This is how we split the text file into Q&A chunks and generate embedding using the Google Generative AI embeddings and store them in a coma vector, which later on a retrieval is created to for searching this database during these conversational interactions with customer, right? So this is the model text embedding 004. The next is about LangGraph state definitions. This is a typical which is being used later on for a structure of information being graph nodes, right? So what kind of a message which is annotated from one state to another. So this is also these lambda functions also allow updating the message history when a node returns new message by appending it. And other than that, we have full definition, which is a very important API, which allow the model to access sort of tools. Like for example, we have lookup menu item. We also have get FAQ answer and also record final order, right? So lookup menu item itself over here is to ask the LLM model, which is Gemini, to search from the global menu data list, and based on the item or the size, the optional size, handle the agents and define what kind of variants or like not variants key options like select key, Earl Grey, etc. Right. The get FAQ answer itself is to answer the query uses the chroma retrieval to find the FAQ snippet specifically, and then LLM will do that magic to make it polite and answer the customer's questions. Right. Record final order is to allow the LLM to connect to the SQLite database and insert the order details into orders and order items table. So we are using a Gemini 1.5 plus latest. You can also use Pro latest, but you can also use the latest one as well. But anyway, we tried with Gemini 1.5 and it works reasonably well. Right, this is how it calls the ChatGPT, Chat Google Generative AI with certain model and then also the tools which we just demonstrate just now. Look up menu item, get FAQ answer, and record final order, right? And this is another one with the system instructions, which we give to the model to understand how to interact or what kind of tool that they have, or like to initialize or to group to do the bound to the definitions of tools specifically. So this is very important. This guides the LLM on the persona itself, like how the conversational flow, the state transitions, and when and how to use the tools. So it also instructs the LLM how to behave based on the message history provided. So it's very detailed. It's very long. We have been changing this system prompt a lot in order to get a better result. The next one Number 7, lang graph node implement. There are multiple node functions that we define over here, like for example, the user identifiers, the core LLM, process finalizations output, process LLM, etc. All right. So calculate the order, finalize the order itself. Right. So and then this graph, okay. So yeah. So this is basically functions for the graph nodes and routines. The next is the lang graph definitions routing, just as part of this, right? And how the user invoke the system invoke these calculations as well. And we have a couple of workflow over here being defined. And the entry point is to call core LLM, which will start with some kind of like greetings and whether ask the user whether they are for their username or whether they wanna be a new customer or whether they are the existing customer or they're just happy to be a guest, right? Lastly, is about the UI itself, interaction loop. This is a simple, very basic HTML widget that is created to just. So without further ado, we can start. As you can see over here, the first message is welcome to Le Petit Cafe. Are you an existing member or you are new here? Or let's say just I am new here, right? So let's just say your name is Chris. Okay, Chris, what can I do for you today? Let's say I don't want to go order the menu or order any items yet, but I just want to know more about the restaurant, for example. Do you have Wi-Fi? Right. So yes, we do have the Wi-Fi. That's the cafe, and then using the system prompt, we ask the AI to try to slowly move back the customer to get back to the order if if the user want anything, if the customer want anything to buy. All right. So let's say what kind of coffee do you offer? And then let's see what the reply or response of the chatbot, right? So the cafe bot itself reply, they have espresso, americano, macchiato, etc., etc. So let's say let me just order americano. So without specifying the size, right? So okay, we have a small size, we have mediums, and we have large. So I will just say that maybe large, because I'm thirsty. All right. Okay. So anything else for you? Maybe I say like, okay, do you have food options? So the AI will reply, oh yes, we do have some. So let me just get chicken Caesar wrap. So anything else? Maybe Q, do you have full grade? Oh, maybe don't have Earl Grey. So, okay, so yes, what kind of tea selection do you have? They do have Earl Grey. So sometimes again, the bot might not be able to answer correctly. There are a lot of these elf that we need to handle, but probably at the same at the point of time it just doesn't able to get a correct name. But let's say I want to get like probably like iced tea please, iced tea please. Right, so iced tea, lemon small. Right, okay. So let's say that yes, that's all. So the system will move to a confirmation state to confirm that this is this order, and then using the chain of thought, it also help to calculate the number right? So in total is 21. So I try to calculate like you know manually. Let's try. This is 10 plus 6 and plus 5, right? So this is 21 in total, right? So yep, correct. So then the cafe board will just be like this is order number one, and then it should be ready for collection in 12 minutes. So this is also moving the user, moving the graph state from confirming the order to sending the order, which is sending the piece. Thank you for visiting Le Petit Cafe. Right. So you're welcome. Have a great day. And then this to make sure that the DB actually work. All right. So let's say like I say hi again. Right. Welcome to Petit. Are you an existing member? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Chris, an existing member. Right. What can I do for you today? It's like, I just say like the same one as last time. Please. Okay. So one moment while retrieving your previous order. Oh, what was my previous order? Okay. So there we go. We have this large Americano, considers wrap as well as small iced tea we like to order. Maybe remove the iced tea. Okay. Yep. Okay. Thank you. So in these Chiam, this Kaggle Liberty Cafe notebook, this applications by far it's not complete, but it's to them in this example we demonstrate how we use LangChain and LangGraph, Google Gemini, RAG with embedding vector and connections to DB and using a system prompt to instruct an AI model to go through and to go through the tools that they have and use that tool itself, right? So yeah, so I hope that you enjoy this and there are many lessons learned that I discovered during this intensive code creation. One was that the dependency management is very crucial. Sometimes using a various dependency like LangGraph, LangChain, Google Gen AI, a minor versions can break the code flow and introduce incompatibilities, right? So the suggestion is to carefully test and pinning the issue when the issue arises, right? And also there are also my lesson learned is whether to decide the input source to be a very free form format or to be a very structural JSON format. So yeah, so that is very important to invest or want to make your code less flexible. Another one is the system prompt itself. Having a very complete system prompt, it is very helpful. It's critical to the success of these applications, and the more you mention and specify, the better it will be for the LLM to understand, right? I hope you enjoy this video walkthrough, and thank you so much.
So thanks a lot, Mr. Pujianto, for the great presentation. Next up, we will discuss the future improvements towards this project. So in the last discussion done by Mr. Koji, we have discussed about the flaws that this project have, and in this part, we will discuss about the future improvements that we may do towards our project in the future, occurrences. So the first thing that we are planning to do in our application is to first upgrade the environment for newer LangGraph version. And this could be done by enabling checkpointing for chatbot memory And so the whole objective of this activity is so that the application will be able to store the chat history of the AI so that user will not have to start from scratch when they start a new session. And with this being said, well, when right now our application has that ability yet, and by using a new version of the LangGraph and integrating with the latest libraries, we will be able to achieve this objective. Next up, our goal is also to improve the user management, which can be done by three things. First is by storing and validating user info meaningfully. And previously, the system has asked for the user's username and stuff, but he has not really used and utilized this information well yet. And in the future, we are looking forward towards using this information for certain good purposes. And another thing we're also planning to do is to add user authentication and login support for a more personalized experience. And this means that we could use certain features such as password or email authentication, which will not only increase the security of the system, but will also make the user more convenient when using the application. And lastly, we can also improve the security and user tracking. And this is done by doing such as encryption. We can encrypt database. We could also add several authentication process and other firewall and security measures that we can take. Third is by enhancing order handling. And this could be done by adding a payment simulation feature. Right now, our application can run. Our application contains the AI that can tell the cost of the user order, such as 15 euro or 7 euro, but it cannot do the payment itself. It cannot link with a certain payment method, such as using a credit card or the cash. And we could solve this by possibly integrating with the system with a mock payment API just for testing purposes, just to simulate that the user or the customer actually pays for their for the things that they order, and the application could really simulate this activity. Fourth is by making the interface more user friendly. And previously, we used the Jupyter Notebook using a Python, and we could transition from this Jupyter notebook to a simple web app. For example, we can use a Tinker or another web app library that could increase and improve the UI, the look, the application itself. And this will also improve the user interaction with the chatbot. And lastly, we could also expand the bot capability. And for this, we could do it by supporting the multiple human language. For the meantime, our program can only run on English, human language of English. And in the future, maybe we can use additional features that will enable the AI LLM, the large language model, to talk in various human languages, such as Italian, such as French, or Indonesian, or any type of languages, so that the potential list of customers can also be broader. We can also, another thing we can do is also handling more types of user questions. We can add the embedding database of this artificial intelligence so that more types of questions can be asked toward the AI, more abstract questions can be asked, and the AI knows more about how to deal with different types of questions. Lastly, we also are planning to provide real-time order tracking updates, which is essentially a feature to provide real-time order tracking. Previously, our application is able to estimate the time needed for user orders. This feature will enable the application to track the order progress in real time. So whether the order is now being cooked or the order is now being delivered, and the latest updates, you can also tell them all of them towards the user. So that's all for our future improvements. Lastly, closing this presentation, uh, we can also see them. I've also made the Medium. This is a Medium blog post which discuss the whole essential features of the application, starting from the flowchart design, database design, and then code review section by section. And all of them is reviewed and discussed in this Medium blog post. And lastly, we also have our code, which is located in the Kaggle public notebook, and it could be accessed through this link. Both of these links will be attached in this video descriptions. So if you want to access them, be feel free to do so. So that's all for our presentation today. Thank you for watching this video. This project is such a great accomplishment for us because we learned a lot of things. We studied a lot of things from this project, and we are very excited to be witnessing and be a part of the AI revolution and continue to apply these concepts to make our lives better. So that's all from me. Thank you and have a great day.